Kara, no, don't get mad at me about a timeshare in Pagosa Springs and some point system because you thought you'd go there every year when you'd only been there one time in your entire life. So, well, shit, I thought it was a good idea. It seemed like a nice place. There's lots of trees. I was peeing on stuff. It was fantastic. We had a great day. I thought I'd go back to Pagosa Springs even though I live in Nashville, and I thought it was a good idea. Well, yeah, it's always a good idea when you got some slick timeshare salesman there telling you how awesome it is. It's like, I know, yeah, Dan Delgado, he really got me that time. He's a sweet man. He had a nice tie on. Yeah, but I don't think this timeshare thing's gonna work out for me. I have no idea how to use it. Nothing's ever available. Tried to go to the Akita convention. The room's booked. I tried to go to Hawaii. You gotta book 6 months out, 12 months out. You know, I'm a busy person. I got stuff to protect. I ain't got time to be booking out a year in advance. Well, I know, sounds like most timeshare owners. Let me give you some tips on how to use it better, okay? What's up, beautiful people? This video is gonna be on how to actually use your timeshare better with your timeshare points, because a lot of people buy them, have no idea how to use them. The biggest complaints I used to get when I sold timeshares, even starting back in 2001, was you can never get what you want, which is kind of true and not true at the same time. So, okay, so the biggest problems is trying to get reservations, especially because, as I went over in other videos, like 50% of timeshare owners have kids and only 20% of the inventory is during times when kids are off school, spring break, summer, winter break, etc. So it can be difficult to get reservations in the point system. And when I used to sell timeshare, I'd tell you, it does not work perfect. Timeshare does not, definitely not work perfect. You have to learn, like with anything, especially RVs, because that was a nightmare. It's like 5,000 buttons on those things, but your timeshare is like an RV. It's kind of a pain in the ass to use. Sometimes it's enjoyable, sometimes it's not. So yeah, so you got, as long as you know how to work it, it's not that bad if you know what to do. A couple of the best strategies, and anything I tell you I learned from other owners, so do not think I'm that smart. I just talk to a lot of smart people. When you want to get something, you know, the best thing I ever did was start planning out like a year out. So I would book 2 or 3 trips, because one, it makes it way easier to trade into anywhere. And then it like gives you something to look forward to every year. You know, actually looking forward to the vacation is like more satisfying than actually getting on the vacation. So that's just me, but it's nice to have, oh, you know, in a couple months we're going to here or there. And I found a lot of people, not so much with the Marriott owners, but with the Wyndham owners, Worldmark owners, they tend to plan at the last minute, which is fine. So, but the way you work that, sorry, it's like towing a weight. The way you work it is, a lot of people go to the same places every year. So just every year, kind of look at your schedule, especially if you're the type that has like to travel in certain times of the year, and just book stuff out like a year out. And then just, you know, we all have these amazing phones that do everything. Just put a reminder 60 days before, or whatever your cancellation policy is. Most of them are out, like, you don't start getting penalties till like 60 days, or you can always buy the points insurance, stuff like that, so you could cancel down to the day before. So it's up to you how big of a program you have. Like Holiday Inn has points protection insurance free if you're at a certain level. Marriott's got fantastic cancellation policy. You can cancel down the day before. They do go into a holding account, but just take things like that into consideration. But usually, I'm pretty sure every developer, as long as you book cancel 60 days or more, you get all your points back. So book out. So, okay. So you say, okay, we like to go, you know, to Tahoe to go skiing. We'll book this out now, you know, at the beginning of the year. You know, maybe next year we want to go to Orlando, and then we want to go to Palm Springs with our friends in the springtime. So book those out like right now, like a year out, because you can always cancel it. right? But then you have like something to look forward to. You subconsciously start making plans to go there. So you don't like schedule, you know, house repairs and whatnot. You don't schedule other stuff during that time. So it kind of frees up your mind because you already know where you're going. You know, most reason most people are successful are, if I noticed, the people that had a lot of money when I sold timeshares, especially like Marriott owners and stuff, they're paying like 40 grand a week. They were like never stressed about you know, getting reservations and stuff because they'd book a year out. So there's something with planning and success and being prepared and thinking ahead of time. So do what they do. It makes your life way easier. It's kind of like people that are late all the time. Just leave 15 minutes earlier and you know, you don't have all that stress and anxiety, whatever, by planning ahead a few minutes. Anyways, so book out your reservations. So if you like to do 2 or 3 mini trips a year, book those out. And then you do one big daddy trip, book that out a year out, because you can always cancel that one too. There are obviously some fees sometimes involved and whatnot, but I think even if you cancel a trade, you usually get your, well, you could get insurance. You should get your trade fee back, or you can do the e-trade where you can trade it multiple times. But if you plan it out, I guarantee your life will be a lot easier, a lot better. You'll have something to look forward to all throughout the year. Even if you only do 1 trip a year, 2 trips, 10, whatever, it always works the same. I would do it like that. Then in the cases where you can't get the bookings that you want, utilize the waiting list. All these resorts, you know, we rent out people's points. That's our business. And we have like a 20% cancellation. You know, because people, things come up. People get sick. Dog gets sick. Dog needs braces. You know, your work calls you. Whatever, stuff always happens. So 20% of reservations cancel. So always utilize the waiting list. Like, say you want to go to Wyndham National Harbor, or you want to stay at the Marriott Vacation Club in New York, or the Hilton Vacation Club in New York. Those places are like never open. Not never, but availability is really slim. So use the waiting list. So most waiting lists, you have to call them on the phone to do it. I know Marriott, you're able to do it on chat. Worldmark, you can do it on their website, which is nice. Let's try to think. Diamond, I don't know, I haven't used the Diamond system in a while, but you can probably, all of them just call in. You can at least call in or get on. Most of them have chat now. Hopefully their websites are all improving soon, but so get on the waiting list for what you want. Doesn't work all the time, obviously, and that depends. I mean, you can't call like the week before and get on the waiting list and expect to get it. So you got to, you know, be a little bit smart about it. But if you're, you know, pretty far out, you get on the waiting list, because most owners, I found, like when I would tour people, like 90, I'd say even more than 90% didn't even know there was a waiting list. So, or like people will be like, well, I don't want to wait till the last minute to get the reservation. And I get that. Yeah, you don't want to know like the day before your wait list came in. You got to make plans and dog sitters and whatnot. So if you use the waiting list though, most of the time you'll get a considerable amount of time before the check-in date. Obviously it's very subjective, because if you called 60 days in advance, it might not be as good as if you called 8 months in advance. But typically what happens is everything's ran by computers nowadays. So if you're on the waiting list, somebody calls in and cancels, the reservation goes right to you before it even goes online. So so utilizing the waiting list, it's helped with the advent of computers, because everything's done digitally and instantaneously, and you don't have to wait for somebody on the back end to like fulfill it. So you can also trick the waiting list by doing it one night at a time. You can wait list each night individually. So say you wanted a 5-night reservation, A lot of times you can put in 5 separate wait lists, because one night is more likely to come up than all 5 nights at the exact time, especially if you're trying to get, I don't know, like a New Year's or Christmas or you know, holiday or something like that. So that's a trick. It doesn't work with every developer, but you could wait list each night, because each night coming up is almost a guarantee at one point. And you're usually higher priority if you only have it for the one night. And then you just combine them all into one reservation. But you do have the small risk, of course, that you get the 2 on the front, 2 in the back, and 1 in the middle. That doesn't go, but I've only heard of that one time. But it can happen, of course. So just some tricks on how to use your points better. And then always, if you can buy extra points off of the internet, not from your developer directly, and then rent some of them out, and then that'll offset your maintenance costs. Of course, if you need help renting out your points, just contact our offices, timesharesimplified.com. We have an app in the App Store, Timeshare Simplified, and then we're doing a newer app, so you'll be able to sign the contract and do everything in the app right there. And any points you can't use that year, or you want to use the cash to do a cruise or something else that's a better value, because you know, with these timeshare companies, anything else besides staying at the resorts is not a good value. So you just contact us. There's no cost to you ever. We never charge you up front. We just rent out your points for you, send you the cash, and then you go buy your cruise or whatever. And that way you got most of your maintenance covered, plus the cost of your cruise or whatever you're gonna buy. Because those developers, that's what they do. They take your points, they give you like half the value of your maintenance fee, and then they go buy you a cruise on their deal with Cruises to Go or whatever. And so it's better to rent them out through us. Even though we don't pay much more than your maintenance fees, or a little bit more, it's usually a better deal. And then you can just go buy the cruise or whatever. So you got that. Hi ladies, good morning. Yeah. Akira, stop. Akira, sorry, it's not helpful. So yeah, so that's the better way to do it. If you're gonna do anything besides rooms, obviously the highest and best value is when you're gonna use it for rooms, or stay at better brands than you may actually own. Like, I love Worldmark. You know, it's a great brand, but I prefer to stay at the Marriott property. So but the Worldmark maintenance is way cheaper. Like, it's like $1,000 for a week. My Marriott maintenance is like $2,200 per week. So if I can take a Marriott or Wyndham Worldmark points, 10,000 Worldmark points, and trade in the Marriott Maui Ocean Club for 10,000 points, well, you're staying in a $7,000 week for, or 6,000 to 9,000, whatever ridiculous price they charge us. You can go to Marriott.com, pull up that Marriott Vacation Club resort and see what they're charging for that. And then you're like, oh, I can take my 10,000 Worldmark points, trade it into that Marriott Vacation Club. That would cost $8,000. Well, now your timeshare is a great deal, because if you only paid, let's see, how much would 10,000 Worldmark points be? 20, shoot, I don't even know anymore. 20 grand, 25 grand. So you get an $8,000 week, say. Your maintenance is $1,000, so you saved $7,000. Well, I guess you wouldn't necessarily save $7,000, because you probably wouldn't pay $8,000. I mean, I make a lot of money, but I wouldn't pay $8,000 for a week in a condo, but people do. So you didn't save that, but you definitely got that in value. So your 10,000 points. Oh, you guys want to see my sweet new landscaping, Joe? See, I am Mexican. Put it in myself. All right. So you saved, you didn't save 7,000 necessarily, but you got that in value. Shoot, if you did that 3 times over your ownership, you got your 20 grand back worth of value. Then you can always sell that timeshare for 30 to 40% of the going price. So if you held on to it for 10 years and the prices go to 40 grand a week and you sell it for 15, well, now you got most of your money out of it. So that's the best way to use a timeshare. The worst way to use it is to get frustrated with it the first couple years. Just don't use it, pay for it, try to sell it, get ripped off by companies trying to charge you up front to sell it or promising you the world, or rental companies that say, oh, we'll rent it out for you for $6,000 a week, but we need you to pay $500 to advertise it. And that doesn't work. Or you try to rent it and you book it a year out for a good time, and then your rental falls through or nobody rents it and you end up just losing it. That's not the ideal way to do it. Oh, where's your little shocky collar necklace thing? It doesn't really shock her. Well, kind of. Only if she goes past the perimeter, which only had to happen like twice. But yeah, that invisible fence thing is the greatest invention ever. Because they wanted like $26,000 for a little gate, but invisible fence, $2,600 for 3.5 acres. So yeah, so trading into the bigger companies, if you have a smaller company, is the best way to do it, to get the value out of your timeshare. But if not, utilize the waiting list, book your reservations ahead. Here, try stop. And then rent some of it out whenever you're not using it through us. All right, hopefully that was helpful. Peace out. Email us, support@timesharesimplified.com, or download our app from the App Store. Thank you.